So I start to speak about my job. So I'm doing dark web investigation since 8 years and forensics, digital forensics since 15 years. We are speaking nowadays about the dark web intelligence that is very useful for law enforcement investigation and also all the undercover part of investigation into the dark web. I'm an IT engineer. I work a lot with the law enforcement all around the world and in some computer crimes. I'm also a member part, I saw some ladies, so I'm very happy to see you because I'm one of the part under the European Commission of Women for Cyber to fix the gender gap into the cybersecurity. So we are doing, what we are doing as Resecurity, we're a company with the building operation specialized into cybersecurity field, especially to support law enforcement, but not only, also critical infrastructure companies and support to prevent each kind of data breach or some investigation part. We have data, we have some technology that we develop, and we develop some technology not only to prevent cyber attack as a cyber intelligence, but also to contrast the cyber terrorism part. We have a global coverage all around the world. In fact, our platforms support more than 40 languages all around the world. And then the concept. Our solution will be and could be integrated in each part of other kind of solution, because it's not an empty solution. We got the data. We have context that is the main platform that contains a lot of different data that we are going to see now into the presentation. The endpoint protection, the digital risk monitoring with the brand protection, and so on. And our hunter team. We prevent for anti-piracy, brand protection, data breach intelligence, fraud and risk intelligence, the investigation that it's our main goal, the digital risk monitoring, and all the part that we can grab data. Because our main goal when we are speaking about cybercrime, cybercriminal, cyber espionage is not only to detect all this kind of crime. In fact, I will show you there are some criminal investigation, organized crime. We can and we monitor already all this kind of crime, also human trafficking and child pornography part. So when you get the data and you are with analysts undercover in such forum, you get a lot of other information, not only the ones related to the breach or the indicator of compromise or 0 days and something else. When we are speaking about some critical part, I'm very confident in, I don't know if you heard about these reports. Is one of the reports that I think the most logical and important, because when we are going to see what is going to happen now, if you have to imagine if someone is going to attack a financial institution or the critical infrastructure or government and something else, we got a global government failure. This is why it's very important that all the data that we are going to manage in GovCert, CSIRT, and so on, that can be put all together to prevent all this part. Because when we are going to see, for example, the failure of diplomatic conflict resolution, we are going to speak also about one keyword that is called the cyber diplomacy, that is now very important. And when we are going to analyze something inside our infrastructure, inside our public administration or company, and what we are going to see, some specific attack like state-sponsored or cyber espionage, we got a lot. And the vulnerability, value of the risk, but first of all, what we are going to see. There is the vulnerability are the people, not the technology. So we have to implement in all our organizations something that can prevent people mistakes. Because we already know also with awareness and something else, we cannot protect, we can have the best solution of hardware, software, and also very expensive. But if we don't mitigate human mistakes, there is a big problem nowadays. So when we are getting and we are starting a long time ago to grab data from not only the dark web or deep web, we found some different kinds how to use this kind of data, because the same data can be used for defense, offense, and intelligence. The main goal is the data acquisition. When you get the data, you got everything. And for the data breach prevention, for the threat intelligence, for cyber espionage, or for zero-day intelligence, but also to prevent terrorist attack. Because maybe a lot of time, and there is a use case in the slides, with the Telegram, with the botnet and something else, the national security, but also drug trafficking and human trafficking. Okay, when we are speaking about the threat actors can be a lot of people, not only a group, but also single person. When we analyze a threat actor, we consider that also other kind of actor, also the cyber criminal, can be victim of other cyber criminal. And this is very important, because when we understand the psychology of a criminal, and in fact, we are using to profile some actor. I don't know if you heard about Hackers Profiling Project. That is a project from the United Nations that discovered all the profile. And this kind of project helps also re-security to understand the modus operandi, the psychology of the threat actor. And when you got not the threat actor, not just the threat actor email address or IP, but when you got also the password, because also this kind of actor is a victim of data breach, is very important from also law enforcement perspective to understand who is behind. And happened in one of our cases that we discovered the password of one of these actors. He was a wanted person, and we discovered that his password was his hometown. So thanks to our investigation and with operational law enforcement on the field, the wanted was arrested. So this is how we can also cooperate with others. The marketplace, we have a lot, tons and tons of data. We are to collect tera and terabyte of data per day. Because when we got the information inside the platform, is not only to doing investigation, is also to protect. Because a lot of time, when you do undercover operation, you have to install VPN, you have to use Tor. Maybe, if you forgot to change your language, someone can see your browser and so on. So the platform also protects the investigator, the analyst that is going to use the platform. And not only, in all the feeds, in all the posts, there are screenshots in forensics mode. So all the screenshot, all the posting, all the forum, you can find the forensics mode. So it's very useful from a law enforcement perspective to bring into a law court with the public prosecutor and so on. When we are starting the cyber intelligence part, the computer network operation with active collection, the lawful interception, and the incident response part. So, as I told you, our data could be a combination of everything and could be inserted in each process of the investigation. And this is so important if we are speaking about not only cybercrime investigation. What we have data mining. We have all threat actor library. Now we have more than 30 million of actors. As I told you, it's not just cybercrime. We have terrorists, we have the people who is doing human trafficking, drug trafficking, weapon trafficking. The financial monitoring with the money laundering, the marketplace, the counterterrorism, the threat craft, all day we collect all around the world some attack, and our analysts analyze. All the information into our platform, all the data are validated by our analysts. So this is our number. I don't want to boring you, just to show you something that is real. Let's start. As I told you before, this is just a menu. So we see crimes against children, cultural or heritage crime. So this is why we collect a lot of data. But not only. When I told you, we see the category thanks to the Hackers Profiling Project. And what we are going to see now, that also the cybercrime modus operandi, cyber espionage is going to change. Because first of all, we found just on the dark web. Nowadays, we have the service that are called C2C, cybercrime to cybercrime. And the cybercrime is going to arrive to become cybercrime prêt-à-porter. Because they would like to arrive to the citizen, to the people that they have some crisis and so on. But not only. It's not only about spam, phishing, also to recruit new cyber criminals. And with the global crisis around the world, this is what we are seeing now. So there is a different kind, different change. And we saw with the ransomware attack. Because nowadays, with the ransomware attack, we saw the affiliate. So it's the cybercrime that is a new way of the cybercrime. So this is why I call the cybercrime prêt-à-porter. This is other screenshot where you can see some evidences and also some password of a criminal, but the DTP geolocalization, something about profile, contact. So this is just a standard of our investigation. And we can find a lot. So as I told you, it's not just the dark web. Nowadays, the cybercrime is arriving also to the deep web, to the forum, but on the common web. Because they would like to grab a lot of affiliates, also the students. So this is why what we are doing also with Women for Cyber is a lot of trainings into the school with the children. And the posting, the attribution, we know that the attribution of some attack or the attribution of cybercrime is very difficult. But if we have data, if we collect information, because we need to understand, we collect, we have the information, but we need to understand, like into the standard intelligence world, maybe this kind of information is not useful for a person, but for another person is very useful. So we have to consider each approach. So this is the project I mentioned you before. this one, the group and so on, is a project, an international project that was made by the United Nations, UNICRI, and they identify this kind of subjects. We have some use cases that we bring to you, because for us it's very important to show you how we are doing. So, speaking about the botnet, nowadays, all the ransomware attack, before doing a ransomware attack, some criminal, they hack, of course, or they found, and they start botnet with the malware, with browser infection, and when they got the data, they start to launch a ransomware attack. But not only, because there are a lot of forums into the dark web, closed forum, where this kind of criminal, they are going to exchange information. A lot of time for free, a lot of time they ask for money, or in Bitcoin or other cryptocurrency. But when we saw something that is very strategical, as I showed you, and I took example that is coming from all around the world, and we saw critical infrastructure, we saw something else, we saw a mobile operator, and it's very important to understand for us the how I can prevent, because this is the service that we called as a specialist C2C. All this kind of service, all this kind of information are available, are already available for other criminals. So if we got before, is a strategic for all our organization, and then all the part that we are doing with Bitcoin. So it's not very easily doing cryptocurrency investigation, but it's possible doing, and we already done. And another part that I would like to explain to you, one of our platform we dedicated, and when we got information about extremist web sources or the instant messaging closed group, I mentioned it for Telegram, but not only Telegram there is. And you imagine, if you have a target, if you are law enforcement and a target is compromised by botnet, and the botnet exfiltrated already WhatsApp desktop, Telegram desktop, you got the data, and no need to put any Trojan for the interception. This is another way to use the part of the data that are available on the dark web for doing investigation. And when we have the network intelligence with the operative sources, this is some example that we found with botnet intelligence. And it's real data, all that I showed to you. So the conclusion, what is important? First of all, of course, cooperation all around the world. And in fact, a lot of time, when we have data, also we share with the law enforcement or with some organization that they are already attacked. But not only. The modus operandi to understand who is behind this kind of attack. Because when I started digital forensics, computer and mobile, I did a lot of, and I used also our data. We did a complete investigation with all the data there is inside the company and organization, and all the data there are outside a company. So cyber intelligence nowadays can be very, very useful for all our organization, also for the single person. So thank you so much for your attention.